I am going to be doing an NFL mock draft, but I do want to add a few notes before the video starts. First off, I will not be predicting any trades here in the first round. Now, does that mean I think there are going to be zero trades? Absolutely not. I may talk about where I think a team may trade down, but I will not be predicting trades here. The second thing is I may mispronounce some names, and I'm definitely not even going to try to say some names because there are a few first round picks here that I'm looking at their name. I have no idea how to say that, and I'm not going to completely butcher it. So if I attempt to say their name and I say it incorrectly, I apologize. And when I don't want to say a player's name, you will definitely know. The next note is that some of these picks I will talk a little bit about, and some of them I just kind of filled a position of need with one of the top guys on the board. Which brings me to my final note, and that is just try and enjoy the video. This is not meant to be taken 100% serious. No one really ever gets a 100% accurate mock draft. These are all just for fun, so just try to enjoy the video. But with all of that out of the way, let's jump into this draft, starting with the number 1 overall pick held by the Tennessee Titans. And most mock drafts have this pick going one way, and I think it's probably the safest bet. So with the number 1 pick, the Tennessee Titans are going to take quarterback Cam Ward out of Miami. This pick is a little bit weird to me because the Titans quarterback room is not very good. It's Will Levis, Brandon Allen, and Tim Boyle. 3 guys that are not going to win you a ton of games. But I also don't believe Cam Ward is a good enough quarterback to go number 1 overall. That's just honestly my opinion of it. I believe he will go number 1, but I think teams reach for quarterbacks a lot earlier than they really should be. Like a few years ago, the Steelers took Kenny Pickett in the first round when no one really thought he would be a first round pick. And the big one that comes to my mind is Christian Ponder going in the first round. That's mainly just because I'm an Oklahoma Sooners fan, and I was following the Vikings pretty closely at the time because of Adrian Peterson, and they took Christian Ponder, and I think it was a shock to everyone at the time. I'm not saying Cam Ward is Christian Ponder. Do not think that, please. But yeah, that is going to be where I think this pick goes because I think Tennessee thinks that this is the quarterback for them. From there, we will move on to our next pick, though, which is going to be the Cleveland Browns. And honestly, I think Cleveland could go in a lot of different directions here. You have Abdul Carter that's available. You could trade the pick back. This is one of the draft picks that I think could be traded. I highly doubt they will, though. I think they sit here and get a playmaker in Travis Hunter. And the website I'm using for this PFF does have Travis Hunter listed as a corner. I believe that he will be drafted and mostly used as a receiver. This is a very offense-heavy league now, and I would assume that teams are going to use him a lot as a receiver and then bring him in on certain defensive packages. I do not think he's really going to be allowed to play like every offense and defensive snap like he wants to right now. But I think this is a massive playmaker for Cleveland. Their quarterback situation is a bit questionable with Deshaun Watson and Kenny Pickett. But, I think they will go for Travis Hunter at this spot. Moving on to pick number 3, which is the New York Giants. And a few weeks ago, had you asked me, I would have said they were going to take Shedeur Sanders. But now that they've signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I really don't think they're going to be drafting a quarterback in this spot. So I have them taking the best edge rusher in the class in Abdul Carter. Now, I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so it sucks to see the Giants get a great player like Abdul Carter. And on top of that, Abdul Carter grew up an Eagles fan, so it may be a little rough for him. But I think being the 3rd overall pick with that contract will make it a little bit easier. There are a lot of rumors flying around with the Patriots in the 4th overall pick. I saw one that said they may have a deal in place with Chicago, that if Hunter and Carter are gone, Chicago would trade up to number 4 and draft Ashton Jeanty. Like I said, though, I'm not going to predict any trades in this. Just telling you what I think could happen there. But with the 4th overall pick, I think the Patriots just kind of secure their offensive line and take Will Campbell out of LSU. Last year, they got their quarterback with Drake May, and I honestly think that May can develop into a really, really good quarterback for the Patriots, and hopefully Will Campbell will keep him standing a bit longer. With the 5th overall pick that belongs to the Jacksonville Jaguars, not really going to say much about this one, but I have them taking Mason Graham, the defensive lineman out of Michigan, just to kind of help their front 7 a little bit. The Las Vegas Raiders own the number 6 pick in the draft, and this is really the first spot that I can see Ashton Jeanty getting drafted to if everyone stays exactly where they are like they will be in this mock draft. But I don't think they go running back here because I think they have bigger needs than just running back. So we're going to give them the first player that I don't want to try to pronounce his first name, but it's McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona, because I feel like that will add a decent player for them. And I've seen a lot of people that seem to be mixed on McMillan coming into the draft, but I still think he's going to go top 10. With the 7th overall pick, I have the New York Jets taking tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Now, this pick may confuse some people, which honestly, fair. I've seen a lot of mocks give them like an offensive lineman or even Shedeur Sanders in some scenarios, but here I think they take the playmaker in Tyler Warren, and Shedeur will continue to fall on the board. The Carolina Panthers own the 8th pick in the draft, and right now I have them taking Jalen Walker, the edge rusher slash linebacker out of Georgia. Now, this is a pick that I could really see getting traded. Like maybe the Bears are looking to jump the Saints here and take Ashton Jeanty, or the Bears could trade up thinking other teams are going to trade up. What I'm trying to say here is it would not shock me if Carolina traded down, but right now I'm just going to give them Jalen Walker. The 9th pick, I think, is going to be a big one in this draft just because I've seen a lot of people mock Shedeur Sanders to the Saints here, especially with Derek Carr's injury, but I don't think that's the route they're going to go. I have them taking the tackle out of Missouri. I'm not going to try to say his name, and the reason being is because I still think for some reason they believe in Derek Carr, but also I think they want to see what they have in Spencer Rattler. Now, if the draft comes around and I'm wrong and they take Shedeur, great, but I don't think that's the route they're going to go. So the Bears end up getting their running back here with the 10th overall pick in Ashton Jeanty. I do think they have other positions of need, but Jeanty is a dynamic playmaker and can really help take the pressure off of Caleb Williams, so I think that's where they go at pick number 10. At pick number 11, I have the San Francisco 49ers taking the tackle out of Texas and Kelvin Banks Jr. just to shore up their offensive line just a bit more. Not really much to say on that pick, so moving on to 12, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I mentioned earlier I am an Oklahoma Sooners fan. Well, I'm also a Philadelphia Eagles fan. There is a story behind that, but anyway, with the number 12 overall pick is the Dallas Cowboys, and I think they're going to take wide receiver Matthew Golden out of Texas. There are other receivers here that I believe could go above him, but I think he's going to stay in Texas and head to the Cowboys. The Miami Dolphins pick at number 13, and I think they're going to take the tackle out of Ohio State and Josh Simmons just to try to help their offensive line, and maybe Tua won't get as many concussions. Whenever I was trying to build this mock, I saw a lot of people that were giving Colston Loveland to the Colts, and I kind of didn't understand it. And I'm going to end up doing that because I looked it up, and their leading tight end in receptions was Kylen Granson, who only caught 14 passes. So I don't believe they have a great tight end on the roster, so we're going to give them the second best tight end, in my opinion, in this class. But moving on to pick number 15, it will be another guy that I don't want to try to say his name. The Atlanta Falcons, I have them mocked to take the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that one. You guys see it on the screen. I don't want to butcher this kid's name. Then the Arizona Cardinals have pick number 16 here in the first round, and with their defensive-minded head coach, I'm going to give them Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss, the defensive lineman. As we now move on to the back half of the first round, we have the Cincinnati Bengals picking at 17. And to me, we are going to see a run on edge rushers at some point, and I think it's going to start here. Because at pick 17, I have them taking Mykel Williams, the edge rusher out of Georgia. Because obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals need a lot of help over on the defensive side of the ball. So in this mock, they pair Mykel Williams with Trey Hendrickson. Like I mentioned before I said that pick, I think right here we'll see a run on edge rushers. And with the 18th pick, I think the Seattle Seahawks will take Mike Green, the edge rusher out of Marshall. Honestly, I know very little about this guy. He had been mocked in several mock drafts to teams around this area. I'm not going to lie to you guys, though, that I do not know much about him, but I have him going to Seattle. Then at pick number 19, we have Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M, going to Tampa Bay. Not a lot to say about this pick, just besides the fact I think it fits a need. The Denver Broncos have pick number 20, and I'll be completely honest, I had no idea what I was going to do with the Broncos in this scenario. There were a lot of different directions they could go, but ultimately I decided on the running back out of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton, just to try to get some of the pressure off Bo Nix and maybe get the running game going a little bit better. Then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and honestly, they need a quarterback. They may end up signing Aaron Rodgers, but I think everyone sees where this pick is going. Shedeur Sanders is finally off the board and is headed to Pittsburgh. With pick number 22, I really think they need to get Justin Herbert a little bit more help out there in Los Angeles. They brought back Mike Williams, but we're going to give them Luther Burden here, the wide receiver out of Missouri. And with that receiver off the board, I would imagine Packers fans would not be happy. This is listed as one of their top needs on PFF is receiver. But with Luther Burden gone, there's not really another receiver worth a first-round pick. So I moved on to one of their other needs, and they're getting Will Johnson, the defensive back out of Michigan. But to me, that will not be the last corner taken in the first round, because at pick number 24, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and I have them taking Jahdae, I should not try to say that, Barron, the defensive back out of Texas. I want to add here at pick number 25 that PFF only has the needs for the Texans listed as wide receiver and offensive line. Not a lot apparently to go around there. So we're going to give them Gray Zabel. No idea if I said that right. The tackle out of North Dakota State. I don't know much about this kid, but he looks massive. So yeah, we're going to give CJ Stroud a new tackle. With the 26th pick, I have the LA Rams taking Geod Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama. I have seen this mock go a lot. Like in most of the mock drafts I was looking at, this is where he goes. I think I've seen him go to the Lions at pick number 28 a couple times, but we're just going to go and stick him here at LA. At pick number 27, I have the Baltimore Ravens taking the edge rusher out of Boston College, Donovan. Yeah, you see that last name and you know I'm definitely not going to try to pronounce that. So let's just move past that and go on to pick number 28, where I have the Detroit Lions taking James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher out of Tennessee. I remember when some early mock drafts for this year had James Pierce going number 1 before this last college football season. So being able to pair him with Aiden Hutchinson could be really dangerous. With a lot of the edge rushers gone, I didn't really know what to do with Washington at this point because edge was listed as one of their needs. But another one of their needs was corner, so I have given them Trey Amos out of Mississippi. I don't know a lot about this kid, but I do know he fills a position of need and was mocked in the first round a bit. So we're just going to give him that and move on. There is one final edge rusher sneaking into my first round here, and that is Nick Scourton, whatever, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. I have him mocked to the Buffalo Bills to help their defensive line. At pick number 31, I really wanted to give Kansas City an offensive lineman, but I did not see another one that was super worth the 31st overall pick. Their offensive line was kind of dominated in the Super Bowl, but I do have them taking a defensive lineman here in Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. And then finally, your Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. And this pick is going to be a little ridiculous. We traded CJ Gardner-Johnson, so we might need a safety here, and I'm going to give us Malachi Starks out of Georgia. Yes, I know the memes about taking players out of Georgia, but I honestly believe he's the best safety in this class. And if he's going to fall all the way to 32, I would be happy if Philadelphia took him. But it would also not shock me if Philadelphia traded out of this pick, just like we did after we won the Super Bowl in 2017. Because that trade ended up going to Baltimore, who took Lamar Jackson to get that extra 5th year on this contract. That is going to wrap up this mock draft, though. Like I said at the start of the video, this was just for fun. Don't get too mad if you don't like your team's pick or if you don't agree with Shedeur Sanders falling as far as he did. This is just for fun, pretty much. And here's to hoping you guys enjoyed this video and to hoping that all of our teams draft future Hall of Famers.